multi levelda berilayotgan, masalan, reading bilan listeningning ko'p formatlari IELTSda bor xolisda. Nimada o'zi multi levelda seferda haqiqiy manbalarda yo'q. Masalan, FC kitob bor, B2 ga tushadi yoki CAE kitob bor, C1 ga tushadi. O'sha ichida matching heading savollarni ko'rmaysizlar, lekin IELTS masalan multi levelda bor. Yoki true false not given savollarni ko'rmaysizlar, lekin multi levelda bor. Ko'pini IELTSdan olishadi demoqchiman. Mana bu savol ham kecha part 6 bo'lib tushgan. Sleepy lizard tilini rugosa haqida. Endi bolalar, buni ishlash jarayonida mana o'zlaring ishlayotgan paytlaringda ham har qanaqa IELTSdan part 4, multi leveldan part 6 ga to'g'ri keladi. Buni ishlayotgan paytingiz bolalar har bitta qatorni yaxshilab o'qib, nimani qidirayotganingizni topib olishingiz kerak bo'ladi. Asosiysi. Masalan, birinchi description. They are common in Western and South Australia. Ular demak, G'arbiy va Janubiy Avstraliyada common ekan. They are brown. Ular jigarrang, but recognizable. Recognizable nima degani? Tanishsa bo'ladigan ekan, by their blue something. Ularning yashil nimasi bor. Blue ko'kmidi? Ko'k nimasi bor ekan. Okay, eshityapsiz.
Whose Latin name is tilini rugosa. This is commonly known as the sleepy lizard because it's quite slow in its movements and spends quite a lot of its time dozing under rocks or lying in the sun. I'll start with a general description. Sleepy lizards live in Western and South Australia, where they're quite common. Unlike European lizards, which are mostly small, green and fast-moving, sleepy lizards are brown. But what's particularly distinctive about them?
What is particularly distinctive deyapti. Distinctive degani maniga farq qiladiganda, mana recognizable bor, shunga sinonim. Ularda nima distinctive bo'lgan narsa deyapti, qaranglar.
Sleepy lizards are brown, but what's particularly distinctive about them is the color of their tongue, which is dark blue.
The color of their tongue deyapti. Tongue nima degani? Tilim. Tongue ekan. Okay? Endi qaranglar. Mayda berilgan ma'lumotlarim kerak bo'ladi. They are relatively large. Ular nisbatan katta. Their diet consists mainly of something. Ularning dietasi asosan nimadan tashkil topgan? Ya'ni ular ko'pincha nimadir yeydi demoqchida. Mana diet degani bo'la ozuqasi. Tushunasizlar? Ular yeydigan narsa asosan nimadan tashkil topgan?
In contrast with the lining of their mouth, which is bright pink. And they're much bigger than most European lizards. They have quite a varied diet, including insects and even small animals. But they
insects bilan even small animals dedi. Lekin hozir insect ham animal ham kelyapti. Bitta ikkovini olmaydi hozir. Yoki bo'lsam insects but masalan a little part of animals deganda ham kichkina qismi animallar bo'ladi deganda demak katta part insect ekan deb olsak bo'lardi. Lekin hozir ikkovini ham teng aytib ketyapti bu yerda.
Including insects and even small animals. But they mostly eat plants.
They mostly eat. Ular asosan mostly degan mainly ga tushadi. Demak, qaysi ekan? Plants. Keyingisi, their main predators are large birds and something. Katta qushlar bilan nimalardir? Ular asosiy nimasi? Yirtqichlar ularni ovlaydigan dushmanlari ekan.
Varying kinds. Even though they're quite large and powerful, with strong jaws that can crush beetles and snail shells, they still have quite a few predators. Large birds like cassowaries were one of the main ones in the past, but nowadays they're more likely to be caught and killed by snakes.
They are more likely to be caught and killed. Caught nima degani? Tutiladi and killed degani o'ldiriladi by snakes. Snakelar nimalar? Ilonlar tomonidan o'ldiriladi. Keyingisi navigation study. Qarang, navigation nima degan bilasizlarmi? Biror joyni topib borish, navigation ayniqsa aniqlash ham joy bo'yicha hisoblanadi. Ya'ni navigation study bo'pti, nima bo'ldi unda qarang. One study found that o'rganish topdiki, lizards can use the something to help them navigate. Ular nimadandir foydalanishar ekan, ularga navigatsiya qilishga yordam berish uchun. Endi help them navigate degani ularda joy topishga nimadir yordam berar ekan ularga. O'sha nima? Ketdik ko'ryapsiz.
Actually, another threat to their survival isn't a predator at all, but is man-made. Quite a large number of sleepy lizards are killed by cars when they're trying to cross highways. One study carried out by Michael Freak at Flinders University investigated the methods of navigation of these lizards.
Methods of navigation deyapti. O'sha navigatsiya stadiga o'tdi.
They move slowly. They can travel quite long distances. And he found that even if they were taken some distance away from their home territory, they could usually find their way back home as long as they could see the sky.
Sky deyaptimi? Mana nima deyapti qaranglar.
Were taken some distance away from their home territory.
And even though they are taken from away from their home territory, ular o'zini uy territoriyasidan uzoqqa borilsa ham, gap qarang.
They could usually find their way back home.
Qarang, they could usually find their way back home. Ular odatda uyga yo'llarini topa oladi. Mana shu uyga yo'lni topa oladi degani, yo'l topa olish qobiliyati mana navigate bor-ku, shunga tushadi. Ular navigate qila oladilar. Nima qilish orqali? Qaranglar.
If they were taken some distance away from their home territory, they could usually find their way back home as long as they could see the sky.
Ular ko'ra olishlari sharti bilan osmonni. Osmonni ko'ra olsa uyga qayta olar ekan. Bu degan osmondan foydalana oladi uyga qaytishga, navigate qilishga. Ya'ni javob qaysi bo'ladi? Sky. Keyingisi observations in the wild. Yovvoyi tabiatdagi observationlar. Observation nima? Kuzatishlar. Ko'rsatibki, these lizards, bu kaltaga semi bu. Shu lizardlar keep the same something for several years. Bir xil nimadir saqlar ekan bir necha yillar davomida. Okay? Qaysi so'z turkumi beramiz? Ota.
They didn't need any other landmarks on the ground. Observations of these lizards in the wild have also revealed that their mating habits are quite unusual. Unlike most animals, it seems that they're relatively monogamous, returning to the same partner year after year.
What did it? Partner dedimi? Yes.
And the male and female also stay together for a long time, both before and after the birth of their young.
Okay. Hop, qarang, keyingisi. What people want, odamlar nima xohlaydi? Possible reasons, ehtimoliy sabablar. Qaranglar. To improve the survival of their young. Ularni qarang, young nima degani? Yoshlari. Yosh haligi bolachalarini tirik qolish ehtimolligini oshirish uchun. But little something has been noted between parents and children. Lekin juda ham kam nimadir aniqlanibdi ota-onalar va bolalar o'rtasida. Endi o'sha lizardlarning ota-onalari va o'sha kaltakesak bolalar o'rtasida nima kam narsa aniqlangan, o'shani topish kerak.
It's quite interesting to think about the possible reasons for this. It could be that it's to do with protecting their young. You'd expect them to have a much better chance of survival if they have both parents around. But in fact, observers have noted that once the babies have hatched out of their eggs, they have hardly any contact with their parents. So there's not really...
There is hardly any contact. Hardly any nima degani? Juda ham kam kontakt bo'ladi ota-onalar bilan deyapman.
Out of their eggs, they have hardly any contact with their parents.
Qarang, contact nimaga tushadi? Little ga tushadi. Yo'q, contact deyapman. Hardly any. Juda ham kam degani shu little ga tushadi. Keyingisi, to provide something for female lizards. Female lizardlarga nimadir ta'minlash uchun. Okay?
So there's not really any evidence to support that idea. Another suggestion is based on the observation that male lizards in monogamous relationships tend to be bigger and stronger than other males. So maybe the male lizards stay around so they can give the female lizards protection from other males.
Protection dedim. Qaytaraylik shida.
Maybe the male lizards stay around so they can give the female lizards protection from other males.
They can give female lizards protection deyapti. Demak, female lizardlarga qo'riqlash berishar ekan from other males, boshqa malelardan. Ya'ni give ga mana provide tushadi-da. Javob qaysi bo'ladi endi? Protection bo'lishi kerak. Keyingisi tracking style. Qarang, track degani izidan bormoq degan ma'nosi bor. Endi bu menimcha lizardlar izidan borib poylashganda o'rganish bo'lgan. A study was carried out using GPS systems attached to the something of the lizards. Plus lizardlarning nimasigadir attached to yopishtirilgan. Yopishtirilgan GPS sistemalari orqali o'rganish o'tkazilibdi. Xo'p, ko'ramiz.
But again, we're not really sure. Finally, I'd like to mention another study that involved collecting data by tracking the lizards. I was actually involved in this myself. So we caught some lizards in the wild and we developed a tiny GPS system that would allow us to track them, and we fixed this onto their tails. Then
Fix them onto their tails. Tails nima? Dumigami? Tails ekan.
GPS system that would allow us to track them, and we fixed this onto their tails. Then we set the lizards free again, and we
Hop, ular ushashib, demak, dumiga GPS boylab qo'yib yuborishibdi. Hop, this provided information on the lizard's location. Bu demak ma'lumot beribdi o'sha kaltakesalar lokatsiya joy haqida, and even the number of something taken va hattoki qilingan nimalardir sonini, olingan nimalardir sonini ham beribdi. Hop.
were able to track them for 12 days and gather data, not just about their location, but even about how many steps they took during this period.
Steps mi? How many steps they took deyapti, qarang. They took mana taken synonym bo'ladi endi. Steps nima o'zi?
Location, but even about how many steps they took during this period.
Okay. It appeared that the lizards were trying to avoid one another. Bir-biridan qochayotgandek ko'rinibdi. This may be in order to reduce chances of something. Bu qarang, nimanidir shansini kamaytirish uchun bo'lishi mumkin deyapti. Nimani shansini kamaytirmoqchi bo'lishgan? Bir-biridan qochish orqali.
One surprising thing we discovered from this is that there were far fewer meetings between lizards than we expected. It seems that they were actually trying to avoid one another. So why would that be? Well, again, we have no clear evidence, but one hypothesis is that male lizards can cause quite serious injuries to one another. So maybe this avoidance is a way of preventing.
Injuries deyapti. Bir-biriga injurylar keltirishi mumkin, shuning uchun ham qochgan deyishyapti. Demak, injuries javob bo'ladi. Okay.